I was going to read you one of my mother's poems. So, my mother was also a poet, and she has quite a lot of poetry. I put a lot of her poetry into a red book because most of her poetry was actually written for um, someone in the family, not me. And I thought it would be nice to put all that into a red book, the type you buy at Costco, and give it to him for a Christmas present, which I did. And then later, I found a lot more of her poetry, and I've still yet again found even more. And so I redid that book about 10 times and kept trying to add more and more of her poetry, but it ends up being impossible because I found so much more. I would have to do a regular book, not like that was like a picture book. So I'm going to read you one of my mother's poetries, one of her poems. That was actually my favorite one. Um, she wrote all of her poems were extremely personal to her, and the majority of the poems that she wrote were about her mother who had been put into a mental institution, and the other ones, one was her favorite sister who was Durette, and then the other one's for my oldest son. I think there was one for me. But this one is about her mother, who was put in Patton Mental Hospital at a young age, having a lot of children and being in a mine, being married to a miner. Um, I guess she kind of lost her temper quite a bit of times. And so the partner of my would be grandfather, I guess, tried to convince her husband that his wife was nuts and they needed to call the men with the white suits. And so the men with the white suits came and took her away, and she spent 50 years in a mental hospital. So um, it's no wonder that my mother wrote a lot of poetry about her. My mother delivered most of her babies actually as a young girl and teenager. But anyway, this is a very tender poem. So hopefully, I had COVID not long ago, so I'm kind of recovering from that. But hopefully, this doesn't tear me up too bad. I'm going to try to get through it without being like a crybaby. Okay. Okay, it's called The Forgotten. Long ago, they brought her here, this prison for the damned. A nursing home, they called it. She didn't understand. Why? She couldn't live with one of them, as surely God had planned. Occasionally they would come, then hurry on, their duty done, leaving only things to look upon, no tender touch to warm the heart, no words of love, they depart. Oh, where has love gone? Memories no longer sustain her. She's lost all track of time. Her eyes are dimmed, all tears shed. No need to do, to hope, to be, to live with all this cruelty. Here, alone, among the strangers, love is dead. Love is dead. Written about Mabel Durrett Greene by Geraldine Agnew, daughter. I hope you enjoyed it. And I made it through, so